Today I want to share something controversial with you. Today I want to share the 9 common mistakes women make with successful men. And some of the points that I'm going to mention will sound politically incorrect, so short disclaimer here, if you're easily triggered and offended, this episode is not for you. And all of the points that I'm going to mention in this episode are the result of me coaching way more than 100 women who I've helped to either get out of abusive relationships, to overcome a breakup, to start dating again, or to simply, while they're single, meet and attract, get and keep the man of their dreams. And very often, the women who I've coached wanted a specific type of guy, which is okay. I have nothing against that. I mean, I'm the last man on earth who would tell you, you have to settle for some complete loser who can't keep a job and who still lives in his mom's basement. I'm the last guy on earth to tell you that. However, what I will tell you is that dating a successful man, a man who makes a lot of money, a man who climbed up the career ladder, or a man who has a very successful business, brings certain challenges. And if you don't overcome these challenges and you don't learn how to navigate in this environment and with this specific type of guy, then you will not attract him and you will most definitely not keep him. So if you want to get and keep a highly successful man, then I highly recommend that you listen to this episode till the very end. And when it comes to dating highly successful men, you have to remember to look out for red flags and don't ignore them. And you have to move fast when you see these red flags. And by moving fast, I don't mean that you move fast into a relationship, because that's actually the mistake that I've seen so many of my coaching clients make before they started working with me. Because what often happens, and don't get me wrong, the same thing happens to men, just in a different way. But for you as a woman, you often see a successful man, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you can send me an email if I'm completely wrong, but I know it from so many of my Skype coaching clients, that sometimes when a guy has these certain qualities like ambition, financial success, and he has a high status in society, you automatically assume that he also has good boyfriend qualities. And sometimes that's the case. I mean, I know very successful men, I have very successful friends, and 99% of the guys that I'm friends with, or I would rather say 100% of the guys that I'm friends with, they are amazing dudes. They are incredible human beings. However, it's not the case for all successful men. And what often happened with my Skype coaching clients before they started working with me is that they choose guys who are very successful. And in the beginning, because of their financial success and because of their status in society, and status in society also implies that this man is a very virtuous and morally strong man, they then ignored the red flags that actually showed them that this man is not really morally virtuous at all and not the kind of guy that they should be dating. So make sure to look out for these red flags. And another mistake that I've seen a lot of my coaching clients make with highly successful men is that they didn't communicate their boundaries and their expectations clearly, because they were afraid, either consciously but more often on a subconscious level, to lose that guy because he's a really good catch. I mean, how often do you meet a man who has, for example, $1 million in the bank and a successful business, and of course then it's very easy to pull back a little bit and to avoid the conversations that might make him want to reject you. But if you avoid these conversations, if you don't talk about what exactly you're looking for and what kind of relationship you're looking for, then you're only shooting yourself in the foot. And I worked with one specific client who had a bad experience with a very successful man, where she missed out on addressing her boundaries and what she was actually looking for. And in her mind, she justified it in a way where she said, yeah, you know what, I'm going to sleep with him and I'm going to convince him that I'm the perfect woman for him. And of course, it didn't work out that way because, well, successful men have options. Yes, I warned you, it will be politically incorrect, but that's the truth. The more money a man has and the more success a man has in society, the more dating options he has. And this man was clearly not looking for a relationship with her. And if she would have communicated her desires, her boundaries, and what she expects from him and from a relationship early on, then she could have saved herself a lot of heartbreak. So always remember that communicating your boundaries and your expectations is always important, but it's especially important when you are tempted to just avoid this conversation because you're afraid to lose that guy. This most likely ends with heartbreak. And with the next point I want to mention, I'm going against all other dating coaches, or I would say 99% of all other dating coaches out there, and that's to not play hard to get. Please don't do it. I know you've heard it on so many other dating coaching channels. All the guys tell you, yeah, play hard to get. Oh, don't text him back for 3 days and he will chase you. This only works with average men, and it works even better with the kind of guys that you don't want. They will then text you multiple times because they're afraid to lose you, because they have, I'm sorry to say it, no options. That doesn't mean that you're a bad choice, that you're a bad catch. That's not what I mean at all. I just want you to have a realistic view on the dating market. If, for example, an average guy has one more option right now, one more woman he's interested in or who's interested in him in his phone, and you then don't text him back for 3 days, of course he will text you because he wants to do everything in his power to get you. But now that we're talking about highly successful men who have a lot of options, and I mean, I know guys who are very successful, way more successful than I, and I would describe myself as a very financially successful guy. I have multiple successful businesses, but I know guys who play again in a different league, and they have options you can't even imagine. It's, like I said, it's politically incorrect to actually mention how many options they have. They just have to go to a conference and there are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 women lining up who want to ask him questions and who only want to do that because they want to go on a date with him. That's the reality that you're dealing with when you are trying to date and lock down a highly successful, high net worth man. So what happens if you then play hard to get with him? And you say to yourself, oh, I'm not going to text him for 5 days. He will chase me. No, he won't. I guarantee you, he won't. Because he has so many women to choose from. With that kind of guy, you have to act fast. However, that doesn't mean that you have to sleep with him on the first date. Don't get me wrong. It just means that you can let him wait. You can let him chase you. But you do it while at the same time communicating to him that you're interested, you're meeting him, you're dating him, and you take it one step at a time. But simply playing hard to get by not contacting him and not texting him back will backfire. I can guarantee you that. Once some of my clients who've made this mistake in the past changed this approach, then suddenly they were able to attract a high value, high net worth man. And I can almost guarantee you, for legal reasons, I always have to say almost, but to be honest, I can guarantee you that if you follow the advice I just shared with you, your chances to attract and to then also keep a very successful man will go through the roof. And please don't do what so many women nowadays do. And to be honest, I don't even know why women do it. And that's to, you can actually say catfish. I'm sorry, but I have to be honest with you right now. It is catfishing. If you upload pictures of yourself that are highly photoshopped and you then have a video call with him with a filter, and I mean, nowadays I think Facebook and other video call apps, they have all these kind of filters that you can choose from, and you then complain that he doesn't text you back after the first date, even though in the photos you were dishonest, in the video call you were dishonest just because you wanted to attract him with your physical beauty. This will backfire. I know that from so many of my successful friends and successful business partners when we're talking about dating, that they are way more likely, and I really mean this, and you have to put it into practice if you don't believe me, they are way more likely, especially when it comes to online dating, to text you first, to initiate the conversation when you have a naturally looking photo and when you show yourself the way you are in a video call. And this also brings me to the next point. These points are closely related. Don't assume that successful men are just looking for a pretty trophy wife. And I also believe that this is the case, or let's say this is the reason why a lot of women, especially when they date successful men, are so obsessed with their physical appearance, which then motivates them to Photoshop images, to use filters while having video calls, and to just believe that successful men are only looking for physical beauty. That's not the case at all. And the reason for that is very simple, but it's often forgotten or not even considered by a lot of women, which I know from countless Skype coaching sessions. Successful men have options. and successful men have access to a lot of beautiful women. A lot of beautiful women want to date successful men. So as a result, they are not as susceptible to physical beauty as, for example, the average guy. Because, well, a successful man is used to beauty. For a successful man, beauty is common. What is not so common is a woman who really understands him. What is not so common is a woman who truly gets him. What is not so common is a woman who supports him and who makes an effort to understand why he is the way he is, his purpose, what he wants to achieve, and where he wants to go in life. And if you are that woman, then you will get and keep a successful man. And if you want to make this successful man so obsessed with you that even though there might be other women who are physically prettier than you or younger than you, it won't matter anymore. Once you make him feel like a hero, once you make him feel like the hero of your relationship, when you make him feel like that, then he's loyal. Then he won't look at other women. And if you want to know how some of my coaching clients did exactly that, then you can go to gethimkeephim.com/obsession, or you can click on the first link in the description. And if you don't, for whatever reason, want to read their experience report, you can also directly go to gethimkeephim.com/video and watch this beautiful explainer video to find out more about how you can make your successful man, the man who you want to date, the man who maybe one day you want to marry, so obsessed with you that other women don't exist for him anymore. But of course, you have to be careful. You can't assume that just because a man is financially successful, he's also ready and willing to provide for a family. That's also one of the most common misconceptions and mistakes that some women make when they're dating, or at least when they want to date, a highly successful man. That they assume just because he could be a provider, that he wants to be a provider. Never come to this conclusion without actually talking to him about his intentions, what he wants, and if he actually wants to have a family, in case, for example, you want to have a family. Don't assume something about him just because he has the money to do a certain thing, no matter if that's traveling the world or if that's, in this example, providing for a family. Always have an honest conversation about it. And then the last point I wanted to mention, which is kind of funny but also very important, one of the most common mistakes that women make with successful men is to not ask him how he actually became financially successful. And this reminds me of a very funny clip that I watched on YouTube from the Steve Harvey show. I mean, Steve Harvey is one of my most famous, he is famous, but one of my most favorite comedians and TV show, talk show hosts. And there was one woman in the audience who basically described the story that she had a beautiful house she lived in. She was, I think, if I remember correctly, a stay-at-home wife or stay-at-home mom. And she had 1 or 2 cars, but yeah, I mean, her husband, she doesn't really know what he does for a living. And she never met any of his work colleagues. And yeah, she just doesn't know what he does, and they are married for 30 or 20 years, something like that. And Steve Harvey just looked in a really uncomfortable way and said, he's a drug dealer. Yeah, forget about it. He's a drug dealer. So in this case, you want to make sure that you actually know how he made his money, and then you will find out if what he's actually doing for a living is in alignment with your values. And these were the 9 common mistakes that women make with successful men. And I hope that you won't make any of these mistakes in the future. But I also hope that you are now ready to make your man, the man of your dreams, the man who you want to date, so obsessed with you that he won't even look at other women. And you do that by activating his hero instinct. And if you want to find out more about how you can do that, you can go to gethimkeephim.com/obsession and read about how some of my coaching clients did it. Or you can also go directly to gethimkeephim.com/video and watch this beautiful explainer video. And if you enjoyed watching this video, if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section below. Share your opinion, share your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. And I would love it even more if you would hit the subscribe button and smash that notification bell so that you get notified whenever I release a new video for you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video.